everybody. Really lovely to be here. Thanks for the invitation. I would like to start by explaining the core concept of my work, which is Self-Transcendent Experiences, or STEs for short. They are characterized by a decreased sense of self-consciousness and an increased feelings of connection with others or the environment. This may sound a bit abstract to you, but most of you have probably experienced an STE at one time. Think, for example, about the time that you were completely immersed in your work or felt at one with nature. STEs generally are positive experiences, which are pleasant in themselves. But they can also increase subjective well-being in general and provide a new sense of meaning in life. These valuable experiences, however, usually occur under special circumstances, such as meditation, through use of drugs, and more recently through VR experiences. The current paths for evoking and studying self-transcendent experience have their limitations, especially in terms of accessibility and life integration. And I wondered if it is possible to experience self-transcendence during an everyday activity if you enhance this activity with ritual and technology. So I've created an interactive art installation called Magic Tea, with which you can make tea. In our paper, we've described how we use tangible embodied interaction and ritual to support STEs when using the installation, and how we've tested it in an experiment. But before I continue, I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Danielle Roberts. I'm the artist and designer who created the Magic Tea installation. I also work as a lecturer at Advanced University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands. My co-author, who can't be here today, also works at Advanced and is an assistant professor at Tilburg University in the Netherlands, where he lectures on and studies creativity and imagination. So, which ordinary activities would provide a good starting point for eliciting STEs? I conducted 2 experience sampling sessions to explore the possible activities, for which I used a mapping and activity logging technique. I looked at mind states supportive for self-transcendent experiences, in particular attention, relaxation, and lack of negative affect. The combination of these mind states was present during simple tasks like housekeeping, food consumption, and preparation. These types of activities are already a part of one's life. And I was wondering, can one complete a necessary task and at the same time possibly experience another state of mind? So why tea? Preparing and drinking tea, of course, is an everyday activity which involves food. But also, there are many tea rituals around the world. I've been especially inspired by the Japanese tea ceremony. And there are some similarities between Magic Tea and the Japanese tea ceremony. But there are also some important differences. I wanted my tea ritual to be accessible for people in the West and align with our culture. So let's look at the installation. Magic Tea consists of 3 main parts. A wearable that measures heart rate and breath status through a clip attached to the earlobe. A table which houses sensors that detect the user's status during the steps and provides light and sound stimuli. And a bowl for drinking tea, which also houses light, sound, and vibration stimuli. For electronics, we used 3 Arduinos with an XP antenna, which connects them wirelessly. We created a custom protocol, which takes care of the communication between the 3 parts. As I've mentioned earlier, we used two main strategies, ritual and tangible embodied interaction. In a moment, we'll look at the ritual itself, and after that, I will go into the interaction strategy. So why did we use ritual? Rituals can change an ordinary activity into something more meaningful and help create the right mindset for an activity. Intense rituals can even enhance consciousness. In Magic Tea, this is done by manipulating the structure, appearance, and interaction of the activity. So let's see how this works in this short impression of using Magic Tea. So participants start out by writing their expectations about the experience. In the preparation phase, participants get acquainted with the objects. They tap water, start the boiling process by striking a match, and use an immersion heater for boiling. They then rinse the tea, which is common in Chinese culture. The tea is steeped, and when it's done, they drink the tea from a special cup, holding it with both hands. Then they clear away the remains, and they reflect back on the experience and write it down. So now let's get to the tangible embodied interaction. Why did we want to use that? To enhance the right mindset, which was already there in this common activity of preparing and drinking tea, attention and relaxation. We were especially interested in eliciting the STE of non-dual awareness, which I will get to later. I've applied two methods of tangible interactive technology with Magic Tea. The first one is entrainment. It was used during the preparation step of the ritual. Light and sound stimuli faded in and out at 0.1 Hertz. The aim was to covertly regulate and slow down the respiration rate of the participants by entraining their breathing to this slow rhythm. This can have a calming effect. Testing the effect of entrainment, however, wasn't part of this study, so in this talk I will focus on the augmented embodiment strategy. So augmented embodiment refers to the ability of technology to augment bodily self-consciousness by altering or extending its boundaries. And this relates, as you may recall, to some of the core characteristics of STE, feelings of increased connectivity and decrease of self-consciousness. So how was this done? Augmented embodiment is implied in all the steps of the tea preparation. Lights below the objects fade in and out in the same rhythm as the participants breathe in and out. All this leads up to drinking the tea from the special cup. Here, the participants' heart rate is represented as vibration and light, and their breath status as sound. All this while they are drinking tea. The goal here is to dissolve the boundaries and dichotomy between the drinker and the cup. This can be considered a non-dual experience. To test our strategies, we have conducted an experiment. We were interested in two main questions. The first is which self-transcendent experience can be experienced during the Magic Tea ritual, and we looked at three varieties, namely mindfulness, flow, and non-dual awareness. We were especially interested in how augmented embodiment relates to non-dual awareness. So non-dual awareness is the most intense of the three STEs mentioned here. And it refers to experiences in which self and the world are merged into a unified whole, or the boundaries of the self dissolve. We used validated measures to assess the occurrence of the three STE varieties. we also formulated 3 augmented embodiment statements to find out if participants recognized their biometric data representations in the external objects. If the objects are experienced as extensions or alterations of their body, this could contribute to a state of non-dual awareness. An example of such a statement is, in the light patterns beneath the objects, I recognized my breathing pattern. So let's look at the results. We conducted 1 sample t-test to compare the mean scores with reference values. That is, the values at which participants agreed at having experienced a certain state. This value was 4 for mindfulness and non-dual awareness and 5 for flow. The results show that flow scores didn't significantly differ from the reference value, which means that the magic tea ritual in general induces flow. Mindfulness did differ from the reference value, but by a very small amount. And considering the small sample size, this is still worth exploring further. Non-dual awareness also differed from the reference value. Participants were unsure about having experienced a non-dual experience. To explore how augmented embodiment relates to experiencing self-transcendence, linear regressions were calculated with augmented embodiment as the predictor and flow, non-dual awareness and mindfulness as the target variables. This showed that augmented embodiment significantly and positively correlated with non-dual awareness, but not with flow and mindfulness. This suggests that the more participants were able to perceive augmented embodiment, the more they experienced non-duality. So, to conclude, looking at our research questions, we may conclude that during the magic tea ritual, flow and possibly mindfulness have been experienced, but not non-dual awareness. There's a positive correlation between augmented embodiment and non-dual awareness. The more participants were able to perceive the augmented embodiment, the more they experienced non-duality. With regard to the strategies used, our findings suggest that ritual and tangible embodied interaction provide supportive conditions for experiencing STEs, and that non-dual awareness may be supported through augmented embodiment. Thanks very much for your attention. You can come up if you have questions, email me. Follow the links if you want to know more about our work.